So today is a very special day because I graduated from physical therapy school today, so I'm officially Dr. Michael Cortesa, so that's pretty cool. Because of all this COVID stuff, the graduation was done on Zoom, so it was an interesting experience. So the graduation gift that I got from my parents was the Garmin Forerunner 945. Along with the ride I'm gonna do, I'm also gonna do a first impressions video on this Garmin. Let's see how this works. All right. One of the main reasons I want to do this review is because I'm a very average dude. I'm just some guy. And when I was researching which fitness watches to get, I was seeing a bunch of people, a bunch of tech people that were also fitness people talking about the watch. And I was like, yeah, these people obviously know way more about this watch than I ever will. But I just want someone who's just gonna tell me how they like it instead of trying to give a detailed description of everything. So I'm just some guy who runs, bikes, exercises a lot. Whatever fitness watch I got was gonna be a graduation gift from my parents. So money wasn't really a factor. The fact that it's a little bit on the higher end wasn't really a problem, which I'm very fortunate that it wasn't. If it was a bigger factor, it probably would have deterred me from looking at it right from the beginning. Another reason I wanted it was because it had the navigation feature, which I'm currently testing right now. This is my first bike ride with it, and it's telling me where to go. I don't know if you can see that. That was one of the main features I wanted after biking a few times with other people and then getting lost or not really knowing which turn we need to take. I was starting to get frustrated, and I was like, you know what, I want something that'll tell me where to go. I also wanted the Garmin because it had the buttons, the tactile buttons that you press to change in the menu. But I bought my sister's old Apple Watch to test that out before I got this one, and I hated using the touchscreen in the middle of the workouts because I was like trying to do things quickly, trying to navigate the menus, and I was using this touchscreen. I'm like, listen, this is a fucking 1 inch by 1 inch screen right now. I really don't want to fuck with this thing. I was really attracted to the ideas of the buttons. Also, I've competed in a couple triathlons, one of them being the Wisconsin-Madison Ironman 70.3, and ever since then I've really liked swimming, biking, and running. And this watch has triathlon features that I have yet to explore, but know that they're there, so it'll be interesting to see. The first thing I noticed with this Garmin right out of the box, it is extremely light. Lighter than any watch that I've ever held. You almost don't even feel like you're holding anything, which is pretty sweet. So when I got this watch, I was really worried that, or when I was getting this watch, I was worried that I wasn't gonna be able to see the screen in the sunlight. But let me tell you, you can see this screen perfectly. I'm honestly kind of surprised. I was not expecting the screen to look this nice in the sun, and I was anticipating a lot of glare or just straight up not being able to read it. But I can almost read it, and I'm not kidding. I can almost read it better outside in the sun than I can inside. And I'm very surprised to say that. I'm also the type of guy, when I have these watches, whatever watch connects to my phone, I immediately turn off all the notifications. I don't want this thing buzzing while I'm exercising or while I'm going about my day. I don't want a distraction. I got this watch because I wanted a fitness device, a fitness tool. I don't want it as a daily smartwatch, you know? So that was another reason I didn't want to get the Apple Watch, because I felt like getting the Apple Watch was getting a normal watch that also does fitness. But I'm looking for a fitness watch. So that's why I wanted to get something a little bit more serious, I feel. What I did for this navigation was I put in GPS coordinates for where I wanted to go. And I was able to change the format of the GPS coordinates so that it matched what Google Maps told me, because the default format didn't do that, so I had to change it. But everything is intuitive so far as I'm using it. Everything makes sense as I'm using it. The thing with this watch that I'm already kind of like a little weary of is the fact that there's a lot of menu items. And when I was flipping through the stuff, I was a little bit overwhelmed with all the options I had. But it's once you get the hang of using the buttons, I mean, it makes sense. It's all very intuitive. So now this thing is telling me right on Northwest Ashton Street in 360 feet. It vibrated, it did all that shit, so I know to do it. 200 feet. All right, here I am. Great. Left on, okay, 1 mile. All right, so this thing's telling me where to go. And it vibrates when I need to make a turn. It makes a little jingly noise, so that's great. That is exactly what I wanted with this watch. Oh man, there's a bike-a-thon or something going on over here. There's a bunch of bikes. I gotta make a left here. Thank you, Garmin. Oh, there's a trail, duh. Make a left into the trail. Paved path. Oh, there's tons of people here. Awesome. Let me show you. On your left. On your left. Thank you. Boom, I'm intense. I'm intense with it. I'm taking this super seriously. On your left. I made it to my destination. The Garmin brought me exactly to the GPS, to the coordinate point that I set out, so I'm very happy about that. I'm at the Skokie Lagoon right now, okay? So the bike path that I took here was really good. I've never been on it before, and I'm excited. I'm happy that Garmin introduced it to me, because I just typed in the coordinates and it brought me right there. And overall, I'm really impressed with how well the Garmin navigation works on the bike. The screen works perfectly on the bike, in the sun, on the move. The turn-by-turn directions work really nicely, and overall, I'm very happy with how it works. The thing I really was looking for in a fitness watch is something that's simple, user-friendly, and not too complicated. I use the GPS coordinates to get me to where I am. I pause the workout. The workout screen is cycling through, let's see if we can get, the workout screen is cycling through a bunch of different things, okay? And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna get back? Because I use the coordinates to get here. So I was like, how can I get it back home? So here, I hope you can see it. I'm on the workout screen, and I can literally just go down to back to start. Let's see what it does. Okay, 13.3 miles back home. All right, so I'm just about home now. As for this Garmin goes, I am very, very, very pleased with it. I'm very impressed with how well I can read the screen in the sunlight. It's cloudy now, but it was sunny earlier, and I was still able to read the Garmin no problem. It vibrates when it needs to, it beeps when it needs to, it tells me turn-by-turn direction. The menus are super easy to navigate. Everything's intuitive. It gives me the information I want when I want it. I'm very, very, very pleased with it, and I'm excited to see what kinds of other features it has that I haven't tapped into yet. It feels very sleek. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing a watch. It's very light. I really like it so far.
Yeah, so yesterday I went on a
bike ride with my Garmin for the first time, and I was very happy with it. And one of the other things that I wanted in a fitness watch was something to tell me what my pace was while I was running. So biking and running are probably the two biggest exercises I do, and the things I wanted the fitness watch for. So yesterday I biked. So today I'm thinking about that I'm gonna run, and it's also raining outside. So I'm thinking that we can see how it does when it's wet. I mean, I don't anticipate anything spectacular happening because you're supposed to be able to swim with it. I'll go for a run and see how I like it. Since I haven't gone for a run with this Garmin yet, I edited the pace, the different fields. So there's different data fields, and I made it so that the distance was on top, timer in the middle left, average pace middle right, and then total or current pace at the bottom. It's pretty easy to change these data fields, and you can make each square whatever you want. You can also change the number of data fields. I think it's doing a pretty good job of letting me know where I'm at. I'm gonna try to do some sprints and see how quickly it can adjust my pace. And then if I slow down, so that's quick enough for me. Seems like it takes like 3 to 5 seconds to really adjust. All right, it's about to tell me I've done 2 miles. It buzzes on my wrist, beeps a little bit, and it tells me 2 miles. Top pace is my last lap pace. Bottom is the overall time. And then it goes back to that screen. So I like that feature. When you stop a workout, you're going. I'm gonna hit this button up here. Hit this, and that pauses it. So once it's paused, it goes to this other menu where, you know, it cycles through some stats and allows you to resume, end it, or whatever. But that top button right here, this top button right here is your main button that you use to filter through all the stuff. This one goes up and down. These two, I should say, go up and down. So, and this one's the back one. So I went back, here's the mode, and if I wanted to start the run again, hit it and I'm off. Okay, so the thing that's huge about doing the Garmin test when it's raining, navigating this thing with the buttons, no problem at all. I can shift through menus, start, stop workouts, pause them. So I'm glad that I have a watch that I know I don't have to worry about when it's raining. Pass my rain run test. Another thing that I was looking for in a fitness watch was the ability to pair the watch with my Polar H10 chest heart rate monitor. I got this thing about a year ago, and I didn't have a nice fitness watch at the time, so the only way I can see the data that this thing was getting was from my phone, and I didn't really like the Polar apps interface. So I was looking for a watch that I would be able to use this with, because I already had it. So I started by looking at the Polar brand watches first, but really none of them really stuck out to me. I didn't really care for the way that they were designed. So what my plan is to do today is to do the lactate threshold test, which you can do on the Garmin Forerunner 945, but you have to have an external chest heart rate monitor. So I'm going to do that today. So I figured it's a good way to test how the Forerunner works with the chest strap, as well as what the lactate threshold test looks like. Okay, so I have the Polar H10 on. So if I want to do the lactate threshold test, I have to press and hold this top right button. So it's going to ask me to start a run. And then what I'm going to do is hit that. Okay, it's going. External heart rate connected. That's exactly what I want to see. So now I know that this thing is using the heart rate from my chest strap. So then I press and hold this middle button, I go down to training, and then there should be lactate threshold, guided test. Warm up at a slow pace for 10 to 15 minutes. Oh shit. Intensity targets will increase every 3 to 4 minutes. The test is complete when threshold is detected. Okay, warm up until lap press. All right, I want to go do this. Okay, so I just finished the lactate threshold run, and now I'm syncing it to my phone. So I'm connected to the Garmin Connect App, which is the main app you use to navigate the Garmin on your phone. It's so much better than the Polar app. When I had the Polar app for the H10, when I would use it, that app I really hated it. So this app is really nice. So I'm on my performance stats. I hit lactate threshold, and now that I just did one, it should generate a graph. Oh, there's a little point up there. Okay, so I guess that's what it is. So my lactate threshold ended up being 179 with a pace of 7 minutes, 12 seconds per mile. But it like adjusts my heart rate zones based on that data. And during the test, it would tell me, okay, run at 146 to 156 beats per minute for 4 minutes, and then it would jump up to 156 to 166 beats per minute for 4 minutes, and that's how long I was running. And it just goes up by those 10 beat per minute increments for 4 minutes, and then at a point it just popped up on my screen. It goes lactate threshold determined 179, and then 7 minutes 12 seconds per mile pace. If I go to my user profile, okay, then I'm going to go to heart rate, and then that's the lactate threshold that was calculated. Zones based on my max heart rate, lactate threshold percentage. Does it just tell me to max out every time? Okay, so when it's saying based on the zones, since it's based on my lactate threshold, the maximum is greater than 100%. So if I want to spend time in zone 5 based on my lactate threshold, I have to go above 179 beats per minute. Since that's my lactate threshold, zone 5 is above that if I do my heart rate based on lactate threshold. So now I'm going to make sure that I'm running. I squeeze in some runs where my heart rate is greater than 179. Continue to test out this Garmin. So I just synced up a Spotify playlist onto my Garmin Forerunner 945. It was very easy to do on the app. Didn't take too long. But then I tried to sync my Bluetooth headphones to the Garmin, and it's currently frozen. So it's stuck on this screen, and this white ring typically circles around this. So the internet is telling me to press and hold the light button for 15 seconds, and then that should turn it off. And that's how you restart a frozen Garmin watch. So I obviously don't like to see this happen on day 4 of having this watch, but press and hold. Press and hold. Okay. You know, I haven't dropped it. I haven't done anything crazy to it. So I not too excited about that, but that is the way it is. It's restarting right now. All right, so it worked just fine the second time. AirPods got connected, so. I'm realizing when I'm making this review video that I have a lot of gear. I have a lot of stuff that I'm trying to incorporate into my running. So I don't know if that's good or bad. But I got my AirPods connected to my Forerunner. I got my chest rate, heart rate monitor connected to the Forerunner. I changed the data field so that the external heart rate says the heart rate at the top, pace at the bottom. I'm going to use the information I got yesterday from my lactate threshold test to go on a run. Listen to some music. I don't typically listen to music when I run, but I figured I might as well test out the feature. So I got all these things moving right now. So I'm gonna keep playing with it. Okay, just finished my run. I felt like using the heart rate data that I got from the lactate threshold test yesterday, I was able to train smarter, and I felt like I got a much better run than I typically do, because when I run normally without worrying about my heart rate, I'm just running. you know, and I don't really see what pace I'm at until the end of my workout when I check it on my phone. But now that I have not only the pace on my wrist, I have the heart rate on my wrist, so I know how hard I'm running while I'm running. I know how far I've gone, how much time has elapsed. So I feel like I got much more out of this run than I have in other runs without the data. So I'm happy about that. Overall, the Garmin has checked every single box of what I was looking for in a fitness watch. Using the watch for navigation while I'm on the bike was one of the main things I wanted, and it did extremely well with that. The screen is super easy to read both in the rain and in the sun. You can stop and start workouts with the push of a button. My Polar H10 is able to seamlessly sync with the Garmin, and it displays the heart rate data during the runs. It did freeze that one time when I was trying to sync my headphones, but it worked the second time, so I'm not really too worried about it. The Garmin has a bunch of different features in it, like the lactate threshold tests that help me train more effectively. I'm going to be doing a lot more heart rate specific training because of this watch. I know the Garmin has a lot more features that I haven't tested out yet, but I'm excited to keep playing around with it this summer.